You guys have showered together?
Sometimes you're just... Ugh.
That wasn't a no.
All right, well, we should head out now if we're gonna get to the airport. You can't go to the Board of Trustees and say you gave Sheldon Cooper $70 million and have nothing to show for it. No, the only way you'd be able to save face is to double down.
So 140.
And then double again.
280.
Double again. So, what do you say? We have a deal?
He said no?
No, that's only a 2-letter word.
In the pilot episode of The Big Bang Theory, co-creator Chuck Lorre made a bold creative decision by including a scene devoid of traditional jokes. This scene featured Jim Parsons' character, Sheldon Cooper, delivering an earnest monologue about his preference for a specific spot on the couch. Despite lacking overt humor, the scene effectively showcased Sheldon's unique worldview and meticulous nature. Lorre later identified this moment as his favorite in the series, highlighting how it established Sheldon's character and set the tone for the show's success. The scene's humor emerged not from punchlines but from the characters' reactions, Penny's confusion and Leonard's exasperation, which complemented Sheldon's seriousness. This approach resonated with audiences and contributed to the show's acclaim, including 10 Primetime Emmy Awards. The success of this unconventional scene influenced the show's narrative style, leading to similar moments that emphasized character-driven humor. It also paved the way for the spin-off series Young Sheldon, which continues to explore the character's idiosyncrasies. Interestingly, an earlier version of the pilot included a scene where Sheldon and Leonard visited a high-IQ sperm bank, a portrayal inconsistent with Sheldon's later characterization. Recognizing this discrepancy, Lorre removed the scene from syndication, aligning the show's content with its established character dynamics. Chuck Lorre added a scene with no real jokes to the sitcom pilot, and it won 10 Primetime Emmys. For years, Chuck Lorre has been synonymous with successful sitcoms, but he particularly pointed out adding one joke-less scene to a pivotal moment that set up his best-known work to date. Launching a successful comedy has been increasingly difficult in the last several years. Several factors play into this, including people's changing preferences and the evolution of how entertainment is consumed. That said, Lorre has managed to continue delivering various kinds of sitcom hits, whether that's on a streaming platform, as he did with The Kominsky Method and Bookie, to traditional broadcasting with Bob Hart's Abishala and the Big Bang Theory franchise. Those who have been following the producer's career since he started his writing career in the 80s have their respective favorite work by him. While Dharma and Greg in 2.5 Men established him as such, it wasn't until The Big Bang Theory in 2007 that Lorre really cemented his place in the industry. Granted that the sitcom remains divisive, there's no denying that it is one of the most popular comedies of all time. The Big Bang Theory got so big despite the criticisms, and one scene in the pilot didn't follow the traditional route for evoking laughter. Sheldon's speech about why he chose his spot had no real jokes joined by Bill Prady. Lorre had to actually rework the original The Big Bang Theory pilot after CBS asked them to make some changes. While the original concept of Leonard and Sheldon's friendship being its backbone remained, certain elements of it were changed, including the addition of Kaylee Cuoco's Penny, Kunal Nair's Raj, and Simon Helberg's Howard. Despite the network picking it up and eventually becoming big, however, the first year had its challenges, so it's impressive that Lorre rolled the dice and included a pivotal scene in the Big Bang Theory premiere without any jokes, via EW. Jim Parsons' speech about why he sits in that particular spot on the couch in the pilot episode. I think we all watched that and understood something remarkable was happening. There were no real jokes in the speech, it was just a worldview that was so precise, and he brought it to life. It was an astounding moment I'll never forget. Lorre pinpointed the scene as his biggest standout from The Big Bang Theory, and that's no small feat throughout the show's 12-year run on the air. It had countless memorable moments, not to mention 10 Emmys. Some of them only featured the main cast and relied on their chemistry, while others included notable guest stars, from Stephen Hawking to Mark Hamill. For Lorre, however, Sheldon's lengthy speech not having any clear joke was impressive, considering that it risked being an awkwardly unfunny sequence, and at that point, The Big Bang Theory was still establishing itself. Why Sheldon's speech in The Big Bang Theory pilot was still funny, despite not having a joke. The Big Bang Theory was filmed in front of a live studio audience. Its ensemble fed off the people in the studio, because there was an immediate response to their performance instead of waiting until post-broadcast to learn about how an episode was received. That said, it was also nerve-wracking, especially if something wasn't working. Doing an extended take of Sheldon rambling about why he chose the specific spot in the coach was a massive gamble, because it could have easily bored the live audience, and by way, the viewers at home, when it finally aired. However, what made the scene so effectively revealed what Sheldon was really like. While The Big Bang Theory was an ensemble series, arguably its true lead was the socially inept genius. The increased focus on him as the show approached its end, not to mention the existence of young Sheldon, backed this up. Parsons' brilliant delivery of his lines helped inform the viewers of who Sheldon was. It established that while he could be inconsiderate, he didn't mean it most of the time. He was just used to certain things, and he liked to keep it that way. Penny just sat and listened to Sheldon ramble about his spot, all wide-eyed and confused. Together, this made the sequence so incredibly funny. Sheldon was earnest in his explanation of why he couldn't sit anywhere else in the apartment but his spot. On paper, the scene wasn't hilarious at all. As Lorre said, it didn't even have any joke. However, what made it so hilarious was the reaction of Leonard and Penny. Knowing Sheldon so well by then, while also trying to keep it cool in front of his new crush, Leonard looked exasperated and frustrated in the background. Meanwhile, Penny just sat and listened to Sheldon ramble about his spot, all wide-eyed and confused. Together, this made the sequence so incredibly funny. How Sheldon's speech set the Big Bang Theory up for success, while Raj and Howard, as well as Amy and Bernadette, had their respective appeals. Sheldon, Leonard, and Penny were widely considered as the faces of the Big Bang Theory. The socially inept genius as an individual may be a bit more significant than the show's original couple, but as a trio, one would be hard-pressed to find anyone who didn't enjoy their friendship. Until The Big Bang Theory's end, their relationship remained central to the sitcom's story. The no real joke scene in the pilot was the very first proper scene that they had together, and it effectively set up their future. Beyond that, the sequence also gave The Big Bang Theory the motivation to lean into Sheldon's oddities. After his long ramble about his chosen spot, similar scenes were subsequently done in various settings and contexts. There was a sequence where Sheldon went on a long speech about what Leonard did for work, while Penny, once again, looked confused and bewildered. Other variations of it had the socially inept genius going on and on about something while also in the process of spiraling. Once again, there were no jokes in his lines, but his delivery sold it as humorous. Sheldon's spot ramble also helped establish the bigger The Big Bang Theory franchise. The pivotal scene wasn't only integral in The Big Bang